Hi, this is Thomas from Apantech, and this is our OpenGear platform presentation. A quick overview about Apantech. Apantech was founded in 2008, headquartered in Beaverton, Oregon. Actually, it was founded in my basement in 2008. Now we have regional offices in California, Pennsylvania, Paris, Tokyo, Beijing, Singapore, and Mexico City. We've been an OpenGear partner since 2014. We address some of the markets. This is not the only markets that we address. We do broadcast, mobile, OB, command control, Pro AV, event centers, military, and medical. We have, for OpenGear, we have over 30 different products. So today we're going to talk about some of our products, not all of our products, and some of our unique products, as well as what's coming up and what's new for 2020. And actually, this is what's new for the first half of the year, and we got more things coming out for the second half of the year. Many of you know us as the multi-viewer company, so we were one of the first company to build a multi-viewer in OpenGear, and we have a full line of multi-viewers. Our OpenGear strategy has been that if we have a product, we'll both build it in OpenGear as well as a throwdown box or a standalone box. Previously, that we would build a standalone box first, then build our OpenGear cards, and now we're switching our strategy around a little bit. We go with OpenGear first, then we build a standalone box. So these are some of the multi-viewers that we do, not all of it. So let's talk about the very first one. And every product we build, there's a kind of a story behind it, usually working with customers. This is a simple quad split. It was first built for trucks. So, so mobile trucks, OB vans would use this to do quad splits on their truck. And 10 of these would fit into a 2RU OpenGear. And a lot of things that we have in common in our multi-viewers, it's the telemet management, the audio meters, the tallies, the GPIs, and all that. I'll go over it in a little bit in the following slide. Oh, there we go. The common features. The very first thing is low power consumption and 1 frame of delay. That's both very important because low power consumption is, in a truck or any type of mobile flight pack, power consumption is very important. And 5-year warranty. We can decode 16 channels of embedded audio, as well as output the embedded SDI. Actually, let's move to a graphics slide that actually looks better. So you can see here, we have different borders, labels, on-screen displays, UMDs, OMDs, static, dynamic. We can have standalone labels. Each text can be 32 characters. We have clocks, analog clocks, digital clocks, even a temperature gauge. So the temperature gauge is important because if it's in a flight pack, you really need to know the temperature of your gear. And you can see different ways that it could be display audio meters on the inside, audio meters on the outside, different ways of displaying tally by LEDs, borders, label, text, all that. And so it's really, really flexible. So this is a general idea. If you were to turn everything on the screen, this is what you would get. And of course, we also have alarm that would show up and tells you the format of your video and audio presence and video presence. Let's move on. So let's talk about the OG Mini-Q. The Mini-Q is, again, is a product that we started out in 2008. We built our very first multi-viewer. And soon after that, we started working in 2014. We started working on a version that would go into the open gear frame. One of the key things is to lower the power consumption to be able to put 10 of these in the frame. And you see here, these mini cues are actually cascaded in the front, not the back. Nobody wants to go to the back of the rack, and we all know that, right? So these are actually 4 input boards, and you could cascade them into 40 inputs in a single frame. So you can have a 40 input multi-viewer built. You can see the slide here that and how it's cascaded together. And here is an actual image output. This is not artistic rendering. This is grabbed directly from the output. So the mini-Q has as a cousin because the mini-Q takes from composite all the way to 3G inputs. And more, our customers started asking about our HDMI inputs. And so it has its cousin, which is called the Mini DE. The reason it's called the Mini DE because we also had a line of multi-viewers called the DE. So these fit in there. You can see it's cascaded the same way. It has HDMI inputs. The reason we use these mini HDMI is because mainly real estate reasons. But over here, we have a really some securing device, a piece of sheet metal, the custom sheet metal that holds all the HDMI inputs in, because everybody worries about HDMI cables falling out, especially in the truck. And so here you can see that we took care of that as well. It's sold a lot into command control classrooms, remote classrooms, and even set-top box monitoring for head ends. Again, it has very low power consumption, 17 watts. We have a 9-input multi-viewer on a single card for open gear. Again, this was requested from a customer of ours. A customer of ours asked us, well, we need a 9-input multi-viewer because on a display, 9-input fits perfectly. Most everything is on base of 4, so 4 input, 8 input, and we have that as well. So we built a 9-input multi-viewer at a very low power consumption. But another thing that the customer wanted is you want to be able to freely move them, have some text, have some labels, have some have a clock, logos, and all that. So when we build the 9-input multi-viewer, it has all the feature sets of a more expensive multi-viewer. So here it has 3 models. The first model, it's just a basic MI9. MI9 has a SDI input. It has SDI input as well as SDI output. And but some people want SDI as well as HDMI. So we have that option. So you can have SDI and HDMI. Then came the request, can we have dual heads? So we have some inputs showing on one display and some inputs showing on another one. So the dual head will allow you to do any input to any output. You could duplicate the inputs, you could resize the inputs, and share in between 2 screens. Of course, when you have 9, people ask for 16. So we have a 16 version of this multi-viewer. So this particular multi-viewer is only available in dual head. They're very great for, again, trucks, for studios. So you have 16 input, you have any input to any output. Duplication, and you can see all the feature sets on here, safe areas, tally management, signal alarms, and everything. So in addition to multi-viewers, we have a lot of converters and scalers, and I'm not going to go to every one of them because some of them well, it'll simply take too long. So I'll go over some of the popular ones. Here we have every part number starts with the OG and has another part number. So the OG means it's open gear. And if you just order the DA-HD-TV SDI, that means it's a throwdown box. So we're going to kind of go through some of these. And there's also some stories behind every one of them, right? So the DA-HD-TV SDI, this particular one is very simple. It's HDMI to SDI, fully supports dashboard. So it has two versions. Mainly differences are in the rear plane and rear modules. So in the rear module, so one of them, you could put 10 into a frame, a 2RU open gear frame. And this one has HDMI input, and there is a loop out. And there's also, you can also put audio in it as well. But if you want a higher density, you can actually put 20 of these cards in a frame. When you put 20 of these cards in a frame, what you have is, you have HDMI in, but you don't have a loop out anymore, but you still get 2 SDI out. Some of our customers says, I really need to fit 20 of these in. Customers like gaming companies or online broadcasting for like Bleacher Report and stuff like that. So when we have the HDMI to SDI, and then we also have the opposite of SDI to HDMI. Again, there's two versions. There's just a SDI input, one HDMI output with an analog audio. Or again, we have customers that we need to get 20 of these in a 2-rack unit. So we built a dual rear module. Now you can put 20 of these cards in a frame. We have a product when people are building a monitor wall, they like the look and feel of the multi-viewer. So when they have a single screen, they say, well, can you duplicate that and doing just a single? So when you do the singles, you still have the, all the graphics, the labels, the border, the audio meters and all that. So this is a single, just a one in and one out from SDI to HDMI, SDI to SDI. You still have your audio meters and everything. One of the interesting things that we've done is because it has border capabilities, these are also sold into secure environments. You can actually add a red border or a green border to the incoming video before it goes to the router. So when it comes out, when you get to look at the output video, you'll know if it's red, it's sensitive, it's green, it's not so sensitive. So these are some of the applications. We have a up and down cross converter. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. Let's go to the US 3500, the OG US 3500. This is a scaler or a scan converter, it could be called, right? So this takes in HDMI, DVI, YPBPR, and composite, and also supports analog audio input. This is a very popular for presentations, for house of worship, for event centers. It also supports gen locking. So the gen lock is done through the open gear frame. It has a brother, it's called the US 3500. So we also have a standalone version. So this has been very popular in the event centers. So when you see that DVI connector actually support all the functionalities, right? Also passes audio from HDMI. So we have the 3500, and there's other feature sets that require. So we built the 4000. The 4000 has more feature sets in it, mainly because the customer asked for it. So we have HDMI input, SDI output, or SDI input, SDI output. So any HDMI to SDI up and down and cross. conversions, and it also supports embedded audio, both directions. It has also region of interest. You could do crop and zoom. Supports gen locking, so it's very good for event centers, production, when you have to add some HDMI inputs, or you need to scale into all the same common formats. And so let's move down to the new stuff that we got. So we have 9 new cards here for 2020. So really for the first half of the 2020, and we're now shipping all these cards. The first card, one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to bring really the reliability of OpenGear to the Pro AV world. KVM or KM switching is really now everywhere. So when I talked about the KM switching, this particular product could seamlessly cross 8 different computers on 8 different displays. So when you do 8 different displays, you have 8 different computers, you really only want to have 1 keyboard mouse. So in this 1 keyboard mouse, you want to have that cockpit feeling that you're just smoothly crossing borders and be able to control them, right? So this product allows you to do that, and it's an OpenGear. So in command control is really handy. And we talked about another product called the OG Mini DE2. That product is a multi-viewer product. So when you combine these 2 products together, you actually have a multi-viewer with KVM functionality. So instead of 8 individual displays, it's actually on a multi-viewer desktop. So you could just, in a multi-viewer, they could be any size, any position, and by double clicking, you can go to full screen, and you can recall 30 different presets to have different setups. It's a very very handy tool to have for command control, for remote classroom operations. And of course, it's all hot pluggable. So, if you actually unplug this board, it'll come back in 5 seconds. KVM over IP. KVM over IP is a big topic nowadays. So we built a KVM over IP solution in OpenGear. So this is a gigabit Ethernet solution. So this one has both copper as well as fiber outputs. The fiber outputs came from the recommendation of mobile trucks. So our mobile truck customers tell us, okay, we really need lighter cabling and longer cabling when they do side-by-sides or A and B's trucks. So we put in the fiber option for that. Actually, just the other day, somebody asked us, can we build a receiver also in OpenGear? Of course we can. It's just a matter of time that we're very familiar with OpenGear and we're familiar with technology, so we're ready to put anything in OpenGear at any time. So this product, you can actually build a matrix, or it could work as point-to-point. It's very easy to configure. Let's look at the rear panel. The rear panel has HDMI input and output, has USB, the USB, of course, to connect to all your computers. I have RS-232 and audio output as well as fiber. The one major important thing about everything that touches computers and HDMI is the EDIT management. It has very extensive EDIT management, and has a built-in scaler. So, if you have different computers coming in, they all need to go to the same display, but we could also manage that. So we have a product called DA-HDTV SDI UHD. So earlier we talked about the OG DA-HDTV SDI. So this is the UHD version. The UHD version supports HDMI 2.0 input. It has a loop out, and supports up to UHD 60 444. So the 444, of course, everybody, it's 18 gigabits. But when talking about HDMI UHD, there's really actually different formats such as 422 and 420. Okay, so because we don't want somebody to suddenly plug in a computer that's happened to be 420 and says I don't get an output. Okay, so this product also has a fiber output. It's because a rental staging customer asked us about that, and they said, well, usually we have our, encoding and decoding. So they would consider HDMI to SDI encoding and SDI to HDMI decoding. So they run fiber in between. That's very important to have this fiber option. Again, very low power consumption, less than 12 watts. Again, the opposite direction, SDI to HDMI in UHD. So it has 12G input. Again, it has fiber input. It has a loop out in 12G as well. Again, very low power consumption. Earlier, we talked about the US 3500, the 4000. Now, of course, there's the 5000. What is the 5000? The 5000 goes to UHD. It has all the feature sets of the 4000, except now it supports UHD. So on this particular one, it has, it's very popular. It's kind of a scan converter, has gen locking, has scaling. It also uses very little power. It has HDMI in, HDMI out, 12G in, HDMI out. You can up and down and cross convert. And here we have some 12G DAs. These are very simple, inexpensive DAs. We have 1x4 and 1x8 DAs. Reclocking and supports ASI, and it's a very easy to use and inexpensive product. So here, other than just DAs for SDI, we have also an HDMI. HDMI 2.0 has really taken off. And our customers ask us to build a DA that fits into an OpenGear frame. Mainly because they, it's a very clean solution. You have everything in the same box. So this DA has a very unique feature. We talked about EDID management to be very important. Anytime you deal with computer inputs, displays, HDMI, EDID becomes a very important part of it. We have a patent pending technology and trademark pending technology that allows us to actually have a built-in downscaler, chroma conversion, sample to chroma resampler, and color space conversion. By doing that, an example that we give many times is a luxury yacht. In the main room, you have a UHD output, but in the bathroom, you have a 1080p output because you have a smaller screen. But you could still use one UHD source and display it at different resolutions. So this, you don't have to buy a downscaler, more equipment in the chain. And when you have a big facility and you have multiple displays, you don't have to worry about that. You could, because we read the EDID from individual displays and provide the conversion necessary. This is all done in the DA. Okay, and you could cascade this up to 8 different levels. So if you have a huge place, you need to cascade multiple of them, and you want to share the same source, you could do that. And the conversion process is carried out within these levels. There's 1x4, of course, you have to have 1x8. So there's a 1x8 as well. It does exact same thing, but it's 1 input, 8 output. And a 1x4 can actually be upgraded to a 1x8 if you need to. It has all the functionalities. Even at 1x8, you could cascade up to 8 different levels. If you have any more questions, that's all the products I have to present today. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to contact me directly at thomas.tang@epantech.com or look us up on www.epantech.com. Thank you.